You are staring at a screen in a glass-walled boardroom high above Manhattan. The lawyers are waiting. A $4.1 billion corporate merger is sitting on the table waiting for your signature. By the end of the day, 2,000 employees across the country will finally know their fate. You pick up the pen, sign the document without a tremor, and an entire market shifts. You don't hesitate. You set the pen down, the room exhales, and you smoothly transition to the next agenda item. But you didn't start in this leather chair. You started at the very bottom of this exact same machine. Every single promotion, every corner office, every floor between that first cubicle and this executive boardroom cost you a currency you didn't even know you were spending. You traded pieces of yourself to survive the gravity of the system. Here is exactly what that climb looked like and what each level took from you. Level 1. Business Analyst. You are 22 years old, fresh out of a top-tier American university, and your corporate badge still has that faint chemical smell of printer plastic. You sit on the 7th floor of a massive corporation pulling in $3.8 billion in revenue. Your entire existence boils down to spreadsheets, data, and formatting slide decks for someone else's presentation. You spend hours formatting the charts for rooms you aren't invited to enter. But you are hungry, and you pay attention. You watch the room dynamics, how the VPs always command the floor first, and how the directors never carry their own bags. You internalize these unwritten rules. By the end of year 2, your performance review comes back, reading exceeds expectations, and you are handed a $4,000 raise. You feel a genuine surge of pride, completely unaware of how long you will have to keep earning things before you actually start owning them. Level 2. Manager. You pack up and move to a new city, maybe Chicago or Dallas, for a new title. You are now the manager of commercial strategy for a division doing $900 million a year. For the first time in your career, you have direct reports. People jump when you speak. You learn to project calm, to stop talking so much in meetings, and to listen much closer to what isn't being said. Then comes your first real test. Your target is a 4.2% margin improvement, which means executing your first layoff. Just one person. It takes you 40 agonizing minutes to build the business case. You execute the firing cleanly, professionally, and fairly. You make your numbers, barely. That night, you sit in a Marriott hotel room and drink a glass of whiskey alone. What you feel isn't happiness or victory. It's just relief. You file that cold, emotional distinction away for later. Level 3. Director. You are recruited into a private equity-backed firm out of New York, and the rules change completely. The company does $600 million in revenue, but Wall Street doesn't care about revenue here. It's all about EBITDA, the magic number that dictates the exit multiple. You manage 3 business units and sit in grueling monthly reviews where the PE partner scrutinizes every single line item. Your first major executive call, shutting down a manufacturing plant in Ohio. 83 American jobs are gone. The math is undeniably clear. The CFO asks 2 questions, the partner asks 1, and in 11 minutes, the fate of the town is sealed. You are the one who flies out to Ohio to stand in front of those 83 people alone. Driving your rental car back to the airport, you leave the radio off. What surprises you most isn't the brutal decision, but your complete absence of regret. Your EBITDA jumps by $18 million, and the operating partners finally start copying you on the important emails. Level 4. Vice President. The physics of the rooms you enter fundamentally change. You sit on the senior leadership team of a $1.4 billion business unit, managing 140 people across your function. You lead your first major acquisition, a $130 million specialty brand spending weeks on grueling 6 a.m. transatlantic calls. When the integration hits its targets, the CFO praises your team in a town hall. You have learned the golden corporate rule. Credit flows upward, blame flows downward, and your job is to reverse that gravity for your team. You are 36 years old. Your net worth crosses the $1.2 million mark, but you don't feel wealthy. Instead, you feel a gnawing anxiety that you haven't moved fast enough. You observe your first board meeting, silently watching the chairman effortlessly command the room for 3 hours. You realize you are going to need a level of patience you haven't yet mastered. Level 5. Senior Vice President. You now run 1,800 people across 11 countries. Looking at the org chart, your name sits at the very top of 1,800 nodes, each one representing a mortgage, a family, and a livelihood. But you slowly stop seeing the human impact of where your decisions land. You are summoned to Washington, D.C. to testify before a congressional subcommittee. For 40 minutes, every word you speak is perfectly prepared. You are precise, contained, and you give the politicians absolutely nothing. You have a chief of staff now. Your calendar is completely managed by other people. Every problem reaches you pre-filtered and shaped. You are no longer operating the business. You are merely deciding. Living out of airport lounges from Houston to London, every relationship you have, both inside and outside of work, becomes purely transactional. Level 6. Chief Operating Officer. You become the shadow leader. The CEO builds the company, but you actually run it. 11,000 employees roll up to your profit and loss. You haven't slept past 4 a.m. in 3 years, not because of stress, but because of a permanent physiological recalibration. When a U.S. product recall hits 2.4 million units, you activate the crisis response in exactly 40 minutes. You brief the board that evening, displaying absolutely no visible damage to your certainty. The recall cost the company $180 million, but nobody dies, and the board is pleased. You don't celebrate. You simply file it away as a minimum standard. You sit on earnings calls with 47 Wall Street analysts, speaking a highly engineered language designed to communicate strategic direction without ever committing to specifics. When the CEO travels, you are the actual operational brain of the company. Level 7. Chief Executive Officer. You finally inherit the top seat. On day one, you take over a $9.4 billion behemoth with 17,000 employees and an angry activist investor holding 6.8% of your stock who has already sent a threatening letter to the board. You spend your first 90 days traveling to facilities and listening. Then you strike. You slash 4 divisions into 2 and divest $1.1 billion in non-core assets. The stock drops 8% on the exact day you warned the board it would. You have just 2 quarters to prove your fluency to the markets. The pressure is unimaginable, but the hardest part isn't the pressure. It is containing it so perfectly that no one around you ever sees you sweat. 3 years later, the stock is up 34%, and the board quietly renews your contract without a formal vote. Level 8. The Beyond. You transcend the public eye. There are no press releases here, no grand announcements, no profiles in the Wall Street Journal. You exist purely as a compound of 20 years of ruthless leverage and elite relationships. When global markets crack, your phone rings before the news even breaks. You sit in unmarked rooms designing the restructuring of sovereign debt. You don't sign the terms, you dictate them. Your portfolio companies employ 34,000 people across 9 countries, most of which you haven't even visited. On a random Tuesday morning, a 2-minute unrecorded phone call moves $6.2 billion. You hang up, pour a cup of black coffee, and seamlessly move to the next item. Privacy, trust, freedom, and human connection, you traded every single one of them away, year by year, to reach this summit. Far below you, down in the marble-floored lobby, a new analyst walks through the glass doors. His badge is freshly printed. He memorized your name and the company's revenue last night. He thinks he is just starting a successful American dream career. He doesn't know he is stepping into a machine with an inescapable gravity. The elevator goes up, the lobby doors slide shut, and the system doesn't even notice. It never does.